Hello, we're back. Up the Dale from Wantley Dale Cricket Club, the podcast that brought you celebrity guests and international cricketers, not you, Elliot, don't start, is back. And we're back with a first episode of a 2022 season preview. That didn't sound right, but hey ho. With me tonight, my usual cohort, Mr. David Maguire. Dave, nice to see you.
Evening, Neil. Evening, Elliot. Good to be back again for a new season.
And over here we have Mr. Elliot Tailforth, who you will remember from our episode from Tales of the Dale last season, our one and only international cricketer at Wantley Dale, albeit Falkland Islands.
Don't knock it.
Absolutely. Anyway, so we're going to crack straight into it. We're going to look at a multitude of things in the build-up to the season, things that have been happening in and around the club. We're going to start off with the end of last season, a little breakdown of where we finished up, because ultimately quite a lot's changed. So we'll start with the first team, gents, and because that's going to be the crux of the conversation and the main focus of where we're looking at for this season. First team finished mid-table, to be fair, but it was a very mixed season in terms of commitment, shall we say, which has led to a mass exodus of players from the first team, not necessarily going to other clubs, but pretty much determining that they have better things to be doing on a Saturday, which leaves us with probably about 4 people left in the first team from who started the season last year. I don't know if one of you wants to take the first team from last year and how the season went. Just a very brief overview.
I think there was an outside chance of promotion at one point. They got off to a difficult start, as you say, things to do with availability, as every amateur club will find. Availability of players is sometimes quite challenging, shall we say. So they got off to a difficult start with not having key players available at the start of the season. They then managed to get a nice run going towards the middle to second third of the season. And, you know, we're on the tails of the top 2 promotion spots. And then, unfortunately, again, it just sort of, in those crucial matches, a couple of narrow defeats, again, players, the best 11 not being available at those sort of business end of the season type matches, just meant they fell away for the last couple of weeks of the season. So I think there was probably a bit of disappointment that they didn't ultimately get promoted or take it right down to the wire. But as you said, Neil, it's a real season of change coming up. There's been a changing of the guard, shall we say, in many respects. We've got quite a few players stepping up from the second team into that first team role. Some experienced, some not, as with the case of your lad Dom, you know, staking a claim for a week in, week out first team position at such a young age. It's going to be a real good experience for him. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how a team which has performed well when players have stepped up can do it week in, week out under new stewardship as well in the first team.
Yeah, we'll come to that in due course. But yeah, I think I can't disagree with anything you say. I think what we would like to say, you've got your time coming, don't worry. What I would like to say is that I think under the captaincy of Harry Bates last year, Harry did a sterling job under very difficult circumstances in a lot of times. So what I don't want to do is poo-poo Harry's efforts, because he really did do a great job as captain last year, and Harry leaves us with our best wishes to go and play cricket in, let's say, a more relaxed environment. So I hope he achieves that. Anyway, Elliot, you said you have a 2 penneth to put in.
Yeah. But well, just to follow on from that, yeah, you're right. Harry did a good job. I think he was let down, and I think that's the area that's crucial for the next season. It's that consistency, that continuity, commitment.
Yeah.
3 C's there. And I think if we'd have had that last season, if we could have put out our strongest 11, 75% of the games that we played, I think we'd have been really challenging for honours. And it was unfortunate that didn't happen. We got 3/4 of the way through the season, or 2/3 of the way through the season, perhaps, and it all seemed to break down somewhat. So, the football season starts and lads go off watching the football teams and what have you. Not a criticism. I'm inclined to do that myself. But that degree of commitment and consistency evaporated, and I think it rather undermined, the good deeds that Harry was trying to do for the club. So yeah, I mean, looking at the personnel this next season, fingers crossed. I think we have a core of a good first team there, with other lads to step up, with good lads who are capable of stepping up, to allow you to have a hardcore 15, 18 to choose from throughout the season. And I think that will bring dividends. I'm absolutely certain of it.
Off the back of the first team, obviously, as both Elliot and Dave said, with players stepping up into the first team, it left gaps in the second and thirds. And I've got to say, both struggled on manfully off the back of that. Seconds, again, finished just outside the promotion places, actually. I think it was felt that we might struggle a little bit when certain players had to go up into the first team, but some players who came in did remarkably well, and I've got to say everybody stepped up to the plate. We said it at the presentation evening. The seconds and thirds did, the second half of the season, perform manfully. Third team was their first full season. Not successful in terms of results, but really successful in terms of accessibility of cricket and development of players in that third team. So really achieved all its goals last year, and we look forward to that going into this season as well. T20 team did their usual thing, lots of enjoyment from midweek cricket, and again more cricket for people. And we started the Sunday friendlies last year as well, which were really enjoyable. Unfortunately, we didn't do as many as we'd hoped, with COVID affecting part of the season, but the Sunday friendlies we did do were really enjoyable, and again, we'll touch on them again later on. So that brought us into winter nets and the winter in general. Winter nets have gone really well. Very good attendance throughout. Some really poor excuses for non-attendance at nets. Elliot, I mean, following Blackburn. I mean, who's seriously going to do that? Anyway, we'll brush over that. But in general, attendance has been really good. We went for 3 nets all year. We were going to use one of them for a bowling machine, but it quickly became apparent that with the numbers that we had, it didn't give the enough bowling opportunity. People were stood around, so we just sacked off the bowling machine, and it has dropped off a little bit in the last couple of weeks. But in general, the attendance has been superb. That brings us on to new faces, because we have had a lot of new faces. So we'll discuss the new signings. First of all, a new signing who unfortunately isn't going to happen, but something that we've been working on for a couple of years, and we were hopeful it was going to go through this year, but it fell through at the last minute. Our overseas amateur, we were looking at getting a guy called Jonathan Milan in. A lot of experience in UK cricket, both down south and more recently around the Barnsley area, which is where I know him from. Off spinner and middle order hitter. Jonathan was really keen to come over, and unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, when he was booking his flights, he played a last end of season game of cricket and has badly broken his hand. I might try and get the X-ray picture to put up over this, because it wasn't a pretty sight. One finger at right angles. So
you'll have to 18 certificate it if you're sure that, Neil. To be quite honest,
it wasn't a pretty sight, but unfortunately, Jonathan's going to be out for a number of weeks, so we just felt it wasn't worthwhile him coming over. So we are going to work very hard to make that happen for next season, and Jonathan is still really keen to come over. So get well soon, John, if you see this, and hopefully see you next season.
Neil, on that, can I say I'm particularly upset because I had a patio I was going to get him to sort for me, and he's going to have to wait another 12 months. I'm really upset.
I tell you what, not selfish at all, is it?
No, no.
Fella's got a mangled hand, and Elliot's bothered about whether he was going to fit his patio.
Hey, some things are more important.
Absolute disgrace.
It
Anyway,
is a shame though, as you say, Neil, because I know you won't say it, but it's been it's been a couple of years or so of work in the making from yourself in particular to try and get an overseas amateur to the club, the first that the club will have ever had.
yeah.
And we nearly had it lined up a couple of years ago for 2020, but obviously that season didn't happen for reasons everybody knows. And so we were hoping 2022 would be the year, and we got everything lined up. So it's just a real shame because it could have been such a great opportunity for somebody to come over and experience playing as part of Watford Dale. It would have been a great experience for lads, particularly young lads, to learn, from somebody else. So it's just a real shame all around that it's not going to happen. And as you say, fingers crossed for 2023.
Absolutely, yeah.
And to be fair to you, Neil, the work you put in to get that over the line, only for it to be the rug to be pulled from under your feet at the last minute, fair play to you, pal, because you did the sterling effort to sort everything out. Because it's not just a matter of arranging for him to come over; it's arranging all the details around it as well. And you pulled it really out of the heart there. So I feel for you, mate. To be quite honest.
Well, as I said, the thing is, I think for a change, everybody, the sort of club did pull together a little bit on it. We got the accommodation arranged with Bobby. Jake had come up with the work scenario, and everything had come into place. And just typical Dale fashion, really, for it to fall at the final hurdle. But it happens. We can't affect that. So, but the guys who are coming in, and we are really, really happy with some of these guys. Cross section of guys who will play in a variety of different teams across the club, which is great. We don't want everybody coming into one team. We'll start with our other overseas. So about a week after John told us he couldn't make it, we got a phone call from a guy who is studying over here, who is from South Africa, a guy called Farhan Kaduji. And Farhan messaged us and has come to Nets and looks a very capable batsman. Really excited to see what he can do. A very enthusiastic guy. So really, we landed a little bit on our feet, gents. Really, I mean, Farhan's, as I say, he's come over with nothing. He's got no cricket kit, so he's having to scrounge a load of cricket kit at the moment, which we managed to get together for him. But it'll be good to see a little bit of a South African influence anyway on the club. It's always nice to have something a little bit different, Elliot, isn't it?
I love Biltong.
I don't think he's brought any over with him, to be honest.
Damn. No, it's good. And nowadays, with UCLan as it is, there really is a large student population in Preston that we should be looking to tap into, because they do come from all corners.
Yeah.
And I mean, whether or not we can make links with the University Cricket Society or not, and offer that as an opportunity for others in years to come, maybe that's something we can look into.
Well, Beth has been training with the uni team.
All right.
And there was a couple of players looking for clubs, but in general, I've got to say most of them do have clubs. There's not so many of them that come from overseas, unfortunately. So a lot of them are already arranged with clubs. But it's something we have looked into. But yeah, as I say, Farhan's come over, and hopefully he seems a little bit worried at the moment, I think, about the state of the UK pitches. He did make the assumption the assertion to me that he played 70% of his shots off the back foot in South Africa. I said at least swap that around for the UK, and you'll be somewhere where you're at in terms of the early season pitches. So
you don't ever see a back foot shot before August, do you?
There's not many pitches in Palace Shield where you're playing regular back foot shots.
No. So it might take some time for him to get used to it, but we'll see. We'll see how far and go. So great to have him on board. Next up, we had two guys join us from Horton. I am not going to try and pronounce their surnames because they are very long, but Barani and Vinoth. And I've got to say, these two guys, I've loved speaking to at Nets. Again, super enthusiastic. Can't wait for the season to start. And two very, very capable all-rounders. Vinoth in particular, with his batting, I've noticed, loves to play straight, and even to the extent that he's playing some back foot shots with a straight bat when I would normally expect him to cut or pull it. and both very, very capable bowlers as well. So two cracking all-rounders that we've got from a local rival there, which I know won't go down well, but yeah, real good additions to the club, and I'm really excited to see what both those two guys can bring, because I've been really impressed with both of them so far. So we'll wait and see how they go. Next one is a guy called Martin O'Malley. Martin joins us as a friend of Scott Newton, ex-first team captain. Martin used to play at Ingle, and again, a very capable all-rounder. Gives it an almighty whack with the bat. He's hit a couple back at the nets that have nearly put a dent in the back shutter. But yeah, and a really good away swing bowler at a decent pace as well. So again, just something that we've touched on before, gents, and this is particularly relevant to Martin in particular. He's had, I think he said, about 5 years off from cricket. Something that we always tend to notice is that, you know, lads who have had a period off away from the game, we seem to, I'm not saying we attract them particularly, but we always seem to get a lot of guys who have had a break from the game and have wanted to come back. And it's good to see these guys haven't lost their love for the cricket, Dave, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I suppose if you've had a period out of the game, you need that time to find your love for it again, I guess. Sort of start to miss it once you've done everything else that you can do on a Saturday afternoon. You know, go to the golf, go to the football, go to the races, go to the shops, paint the fence, paint the walls, do the mowing, etc., etc. Once you've done all of those things in about, you know, a few years, you know, people start to think about, you know, a bit of time for themselves. And you know, if you've done your cricket before, it's always there waiting for you. You know, you look through the Power Shield, you've got people playing from 7 to 70 pretty much. So you know, there's always a spot somewhere for returners to the game. And yeah, it's interesting, like you say, we end up with quite a fair proportion of these types of players. But you know, people, I guess, want to start at a club where, you know, they feel like they can get a game and get lots of opportunities. So yeah, the more the merrier, really.
Yeah, Martin's a real down-to-earth fella. I suppose if you work with Scott Newton, you've got to be a little bit like that, really.
Certainly to listen to him talking about Blackburn Rovers, yeah.
Yeah, Blackburn fans, I don't know, anyway. But yeah, anyway, Martin's a real down-to-earth guy, and I think I can see him fitting in really nicely with us, so a really good addition. This is one that Elliot, I know, is aware of, because Elliot spoke to this guy, but we've had a 15-year-old Afghan lad called Kuram, who came down at the back end of last season, and you spoke to him and his mum, or I think it was his auntie Elliot, who brought him down.
Briefly,
and again, super enthusiastic guy, isn't he?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I've not seen him play. I've not seen him net. I've not seen him in action, so I can't really comment on his ability. But if it comes anywhere near his enthusiasm, he'll be all right. And to be quite honest, with kids of that age, if they have the enthusiasm, they will get the relevant skills over time. They will pick the skills up. So you know, give kids like that the chance.
Yeah, he came to nets not really knowing what bowling style he wanted to focus on, and it turns out he's developing into a little bit of a quite sharp leg spinner. And when he gets it right, it's really useful.
I could have predicted it'd be a leg spinner for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, but if he ends up being, you know, anywhere near as good as Rashid Khan, then it'll be beneficial for the club. So anyway, he's again super enthusiastic. He's working really hard in nets, and another one who just can't wait to get out onto the field. So yeah, really looking forward to Kuram getting an opportunity, probably in the third team, and see what he can do. Next one is one who's probably only going to be T20 related. We've found out. A guy called Max Newby used to play at Leyland, and again a real quality all-rounder. So we won't touch on Max too much, because I say he's looking like he's going to play mostly T20. And the last one is the return of Ryan Wells. We all know absolute quality all-rounder at Wantledale in the past, and Ryan's going to come back this year after having a year off out of the game. and Ryan's coming back, and will slot nicely into that first team. And Dave, we know what qualities Ryan's got with both bat and ball, and he'll be another useful addition, won't he?
Oh, absolutely. Ability-wise, it'll be sort of a mainstay of the first team with the first team's Ben Stokes, if you will. Sort of key with bat, ball, fielding, all action. Going to be a real asset in the first team, I would say. Probably challenging both batting and bowling averages would be my prediction at the end of the season. I appreciate that's probably not the shrewdest tip in the world, but there we are. That's my tip for 2022.
Yeah, I mean, we've known Ryan's last season at the club, he got a high score of 124 not out off not so many balls, so we know what he can do. But bowling wise, he will offer consistency with the new ball. So really looking forward to Ryan coming back again. Another one, and this goes throughout all those names we've just talked about. Enthusiasm across the board throughout all of them is key, and they will add that to the club, add to what already is there. So really looking forward to all those guys.
Neil, if I can just interject, I think Ryan will benefit from being under the wing of someone of your seniority, if I can put it in those terms. I think that's what he needs, because he's a good lad, he's Ryan.
Yeah.
But sometimes he needs pointing in the right direction. I think you've got the ability to do that with him, and I think Ryan will benefit from it. You've actually forgotten another newcomer.
I have, yes. I know who you're going to go up for now. Yes, go on.
Ibi.
Yes, Ibra Hussain, brother of Imran.
Yeah.
And again, looks a quality all-rounder, batting particularly.
Well, as you know, I know him, Ibra, of old, and I suspect the plan is to start him in the thirds, possibly. I know he's good enough for the first, but I also appreciate that he's got to show that. But he's a quality batsman, and he's a canny bowler as well. I actually say he's a better cricketer, all-round cricketer, than his brother. Although, yeah.
That's brave.
And I'd say that to Imran as well. I'd say it to Imran because he's not quite as explosive necessarily with the bats as Imran is, but he's a quality bat and he's a better bowler than his brother as well.
Yeah.
So good quality. Good. I'm really pleased to see him back, because Ibra's been out of cricket for about 5 or 6 years, I would think now.
Okay. Yeah, again, has been really good at nets, really talkative, wanting to get involved with everybody. So, type of guy that we should be embracing at the club. So, really looking forward to Ibby and seeing him show what he can do. You've talked him up, Elliot. So I hope he doesn't feel the pressure now.
Do you know his first game? The first game I ever played for him at Ribchester, he came along. We were playing in the midweek league at Chipping, and he came along and he went out first ball. He absolutely creamed it through extra cover, only to find a fielder on the boundary at extra cover. But he hit it, so it was such a gorgeous shot. It just went straight down the fielder's throat. But you saw then the ability he had, and he was a stalwart for Ribchester when. For as long as Ribchester was running, and in fact it was Ibby who brought Imran along, rather than the other way around as it is this time. So I'm looking forward to playing the odd game with Ibby in the thirds, actually.
Well, fingers crossed, and good point. I had left Ibby off the list, so good point. And again, much like the others, lots of enthusiasm to get on with it. So can't wait to see him in action. That leads us on quite nicely to, we're just going to do a quick preview of all the teams. We'll start with the first, and as these two gentlemen have alluded to, there has been a change in captaincy, and as we had lost a number of people, and the team makeup was going to be very similar to the second team of old, we had decided that it might be as well for the captain of the second team of old, that being myself, to step up and do the first team. So after about 8 years away, I am now stepping back up to first team captain, and I'm looking forward to it. And realistically, I'll keep this quite brief. We had a team ethos in that second team that we played for each other, took responsibility for each other, but above all enjoyed our cricket and played with a smile on our face. And we wanted commitment. And this goes back to what we were discussing earlier in terms of what let the first team down last year. We want to build an ethos based on commitment and availability for this season. So hopefully that will happen. We have got the old faces of Naz and Gareth still knocking around the first team. Obviously Ryan returning. But other than that, Imran Hussain, hopefully when he's playing, was a first team regular. Other than that, the majority of them are going to be pretty much what was the second team of old. Now we know there's more than enough talent in there. As you said, Elliot, it is a good mix. We've got the old heads of myself, Gareth and Naz. We've got the talent of Anis Bahalawala at the top of the order. We've got the wickets of Imran Paladiwala. We've got Ryan returning. We've got Aitzaz returning as well, who we haven't really touched on, who moved to Birmingham and came back at the back end of last year. Didn't really have the ability to play too much because he had a bad knee, but Aitzaz was in the wickets the year before he moved to Birmingham. So we've got a real good mix. We've got Dom moving up from the seconds, hopefully to secure a place in the first for the season after showing a good all-round performance last year. So it's a good mix, gents. And as I say, from a captain's point of view, all I'm going to say is we're not going to put too much pressure on ourselves. We want to get promoted, but we want to get back to that ethos we had in the second team of commitment and enjoyment, and hopefully that will breed success.
Fair play.
Yeah, can't have more than
Fair
that.
play. Yeah, like I said before, you've got the core of a good squad for the first team.
Yeah. I think you touched on it before, Elliot, and we've been discussing it in our captains group on WhatsApp. The good point is this year that there are a good 4 or 5 others who will be second team regulars who can absolutely step up into that first team at any point and will not drop the quality in that first team at all. And that is something we haven't really been able to say for a good few years now. And the commitment levels of those players as well, who are on the verge of the first team, are no different to those who will be in the first team. So again, that for me is the biggest positive for this season, looking at that first team squad, including those that will be on the verge of the squad. So really excited. Some good games in that Division 3 this year, but I'm really, really hopeful that we've got enough quality and talent throughout the squad to be able to challenge at the top end of Div 3 this year. So that's our aim. Hopefully get promotion back up into Div 2, which is where at least we need to be, if not a little bit higher than that. And yeah, fingers crossed that'll go well for this season. Second team will be captained by Christian Bolton this year. I just want to touch on really what we've just said, is in such that the strengthening of the first team will hopefully, we know Dave and Elliot, yourself, you played in that second team towards the end of last year, and it just felt at times we were probably a couple of players of quality short to be able to push on in certain games. Certain games we won when we didn't think possibly we were going to win. But I think the overriding factor for that second team this year is that the strengthening of the potential strengthening of the first team is going to have a positive effect on the second team and the third team moving further down as well. And I think that can only be for the betterment of the club, really, can't it?
Absolutely. I mean, looking at what Bobby's got available to him, Christian's got available to him, he's got the opportunity to introduce some of the lads that were playing third team cricket last year to that higher level, but compete and not look amiss. Your likes of Matt Berry, I'm struggling for names now.
Matt Simmons,
Danny. Yeah, I mean, Danny's going to be a very significant figure for the second team. I mean, arguably Danny should be playing first team, let's be honest. But you know, again, there's a very strong core there, and like you just alluded to, that follows down and assists the third team, because there's a damn strong core for the third team. In fact, the third team is potentially extremely strong. You were saying that you've got players in the second team that could step up to the first team and not look out of place. There's players potentially playing third team who
Yeah.
could do the same.
Yeah.
So, you know, it looks good. I'm very confident at this stage. Listen, it's early days, but looking at the potential lineups that we can be putting out for the first, second, and third teams, you know, there's no reason why each of those teams can't go on and achieve great things this year.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, we've touched on the what the third team can offer the club in terms of development and opportunity of cricket. And I think after the first year of struggling on results, we're not going to shy away from that. But as we've said, that's not what the third team were there for. I think if we can look to at least strengthen that team year on year for the benefit of the club, that's really all we can ask for, isn't it?
Oh, that's right. We've said previously. The first season of the third team was always just going to be about giving people games, just, you know, game on a Saturday afternoon, experience it and enjoy the competitive cricket. And hopefully, from what everybody's discussed and there's thought in the lead up to the season, that this year might be just a little development on from that, you know, just push it a little bit more. So as Elliot's alluded to, you know, a stronger team, hopefully that means instead of being towards the bottom of the table, they can be at least mid-table, consecutive wins, whatever it is, have some kind of target just to build on last year's introduction to Saturday cricket and see where they go.
Yeah.
Nothing will be lost, given it's Division 6. But yeah, just improve on last year. That's all we can ask. Just year on year, getting better and better.
That's a really good point, Dave, actually. It's something I didn't really think of, but the fact was last year there was no targets. We didn't want to set any targets because we didn't feel that was appropriate. But I think as confidence grows and the ability grows in that third team, I think those players in that team will want to set themselves targets. And I think that's a really, really positive thing. Elliot, you're going to be vice skippering in that team this year and helping Mick out. Do you have any targets personally and team-wise?
Well, I've got some experience with Division 6 because I captained Longridge, 5th team in Division 6 for, I think it was 3 years. And I know the first year we didn't bother with any targets, but realised actually, you know, we could achieve if we put the mind to it. And I think in my third year we came third and we were one win off promotion. Don't knock Division 6. It's a good start. It's still a good standard of cricket, but every game's winnable. I mean, last year in Division 6 there were some pretty outstanding teams. Penwith and 4th team, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In Division 6 last year, and they were extremely strong. And you do get that because entry teams to Palace Shield will always start in Division 6 as a rule. So you will find yourself coming across some strong teams. But I remember, I think my second year at Longridge in Division 6, we had Bretherton, who were newcomers to the league, and who had a relatively successful time before that in whatever league they were in before, and thought that they would sail through it, and they found that it wasn't an easy ride. And I remember we beat them quite convincingly at home. So you know, it's a very competitive division, but saying that, it's a division where you can make strides, and if we are consistent, committed, competitive every week, we'll do all right. We'll do all right. I know you're saying mid-table, Dave. We can get up into the top 2-3. I've no doubt about it. Fingers crossed that the players I think that we're likely to have as regulars, unless you and bloody Bobby take them all because they perform, will enable the thirds to achieve things.
Yeah.
And the beauty about that is that the third team, the 5th team as it was for me at Longridge, is very much a case of the has-beens and the will-bees. And you know, the has-beens can give a lot of support to those young kids who are coming through, and the young kids will gain a lot from playing in that environment.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And I think for both the second and the thirds this year, I think that strength in depth will be key. Not just for the second and thirds. Obviously, there will be times when people need to step up from thirds to second, seconds to first. And I think this season more than ever, I'm really hopeful that the strength in depth will allow us to do that on a more regular basis and cover ourselves a lot easier than we had done previously. So really looking forward to all three Saturday teams. Lots of enthusiasm to get going. So yeah, lots of hope on board for all three Saturday teams. So good luck to first, second and third team. We'll quickly brush over the T20 team. It will be under the stewardship of Danny Turner this year. Gloriously emblazoned in their new T20 shirts, which I haven't got behind me, but kindly sponsored by Phillips Tuning, company of Jake Phillips, club member. So thanks to Jake, we have our first ever T20 shirts. So T20 generally for us is midweek, a little bit of fun for the members to play in. We try and keep it as higher quality as possible because some of the teams we play in, and more so this year, more teams in the division this year will be of a decent quality. So we try and keep it as high a quality as we can. Sometimes with availability that doesn't happen, but Elliot, I don't know if you want to touch on some of the teams we're playing this year. For example, Leyland, which albeit won't be any of their first team players, their second team players will be available to play in that. So it'll be some of the games will be a tough ask for the T20 team this year.
Yeah, and it's very demoralising. Even if you set out as a bit of a knockabout team, as a social team, to go out there and get tubbed every week, it's not fun. And the point of it for it to be fun. So for it to be fun, it's got to be competitive. And I think looking at what Danny is suggesting as his core squad, yeah, don't think we'll necessarily set the league on fire, but I think we'll probably be more competitive than we were last year.
Yeah,
we weren't far off last year, but we were significantly away from it. And I think this year, fingers crossed, should be more enjoyable for all concerned.
Yeah, I think Captain Mac Morris carried the T20 team on more than one occasion last year. So
absolutely.
A few more people contributing, and hopefully it'll be a good experience for all. Moving quickly on to the Sunday friendly team. Again, started last year off the back of the Sunday team moving to the third team on Saturdays. And we had some good matches last year, and the one in particular that you organised, Elliot, at Hallam Cricket Club in Sheffield, we have rearranged again this year after a very successful trip last year. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Lovely ground.
I hope the weather's better because I think last year it was absolutely Baltic.
It was a bit on the chilly and dull side last year, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's a lovely ground. Is Hallam? It's one of the oldest cricket grounds in the world, actually.
Yeah.
In fact, the football club play next to the cricket pitch, and that's the second oldest football ground.
No, oldest.
Second oldest.
Well, what's oldest?
Sheffield.
No, Sheffield's the oldest club. Hallam's the oldest ground.
Oh, is it? Is that right? Oh,
From a Sheffielder, I should know that, but yeah, Sheffield's the oldest club. Hallam's the oldest ground.
Right. Well, I defer to your better knowledge. But it is a nice place. Interesting fact: their first team can no longer play there because they hit it out the ground too much.
Not something that we're ever going to trouble, I don't.
Not well. No, certainly I wouldn't. I'm more cultured. I'm all along the round fours, Neil, as you know.
How many runs did you get last year?
Doesn't matter. It was very important.
How many runs did you get last year?
I got one run last year.
Yeah.
So he was the Olympic batsman, wasn't he?
I've never known a round of applause for one run go on for so long last year. Anyway,
I go. It's like a roller coaster. One year it's the bowling, the next year it's
right, okay.
And every so often, it's both together.
Well, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Anyway, we're still up. We've got some more arranged, mostly against more against clubs around here. Wyre, White Coppice, Gregson CC again. We very much enjoyed our trip up to Lancaster Royal Grammar. So that's in the book again, and I think we're hosting them for a game as well. So we are trying to get more games where we travel. Looking at a few more in Yorkshire again. So if you want to host us, by all means, send us a message. We're looking to travel if we can, and if you want to host us on a Sunday, give us a shout. Very much mixed ability team, some older heads, some younger lads, and some lads somewhere in the middle. So yeah, give us a shout if you want to host us for a Sunday friendly. Just quickly going to touch on something that's quite important for us. Off the back of 3 or 4 years of really good All-Stars sessions that we've run, and obviously Dynamo starting last year for the first time, we have decided to restart a junior section, which will be starting with an under-11s team, being run by the erstwhile Peter Ingham. Pete's done a great job over the winter running some junior coaching at Preston College, and the under-11s will be starting in the Palace Shield this year with some very stiff competition in their group. Leyland, Chorley, trying to think of the others, Dave.
Vernon's, Penwitham, Tarleton.
Yeah. So some real tough fixtures for the under-11s, considering it'll be their first season of proper cricket.
That's a real baptism of fire, those teams, isn't it?
Absolute baptism of fire, that one. But yeah, listen, we wanted to do it. We always set out to do it off the back of All-Stars and Dynamos, and it's happening. Unfortunately, due to some restrictions at the ground out of our control, we're struggling a little bit, and we're potentially having to run some sessions at other grounds. Vernon's have very kindly offered their facilities for some sessions and potential games. Not ideal, not what we want to do, but unfortunately, because of the restrictions placed upon us at our home ground, that's the situation we find ourselves in. But I'm absolutely sure it won't diminish the enthusiasm of the kids. They're super keen to get their season underway, and will again more beneficial for the club. And Dave, we've said this on many occasions that this was the net result of what we were trying to achieve through All Stars, and yeah, really looking forward to it now.
Absolutely, it's been a project 3 or 4 years in the making since we started All Stars all those years ago, wanting to get a group of boys and girls wanting to play, in inverted commas, proper cricket once they progressed from All Stars and Dynamos, and we've reached that point, and I just really hope that they enjoy it. It's been great to see them enjoying their cricket, learning these new skills, and every credit to Pete for continuing with it, putting on practice sessions over the autumn, over the winter, as you say, indoor training. He's given them every opportunity to be ready when the games come around, and I hope they get a couple of wins on the board just to have that first season and really enjoy it, and it'll really make it worthwhile for all the hard work that Pete in particular and other people involved in the club have put to get this junior team up and running. Anything
from your point of view on that, Elliot?
No, fair play to Pete. I just wonder why you refer to him as erstwhile, but that's by the by.
I mean, there's other words I could have used, to be fair, but I thought that was
absolutely. Junior setups are the sign of success of clubs. You know, the successful clubs have strong junior setups. I've previously been involved at Longridge. They have a massive junior setup. Hallam, that you've mentioned, I remember when I was playing at Hallam, and on a Thursday night we'd have about 100 kids down there. Other clubs, I was involved at Ribchester, we didn't have a junior setup because it was impossible to set up because you'd Longridge up the road, your Ribble Valley clubs all around you, and ultimately it led to the demise of Ribchester. A strong junior setup is fundamental to a successful club. It's as simple as that.
Well, it's something that we want to progress, and obviously when the under-11s finish this season, we hope that they progress to under-12s and that we can introduce another under-11 side underneath them. As I say, restrictions at the moment make that look tricky, but we're working on a number of different fronts to hopefully make that happen. And as Elliot says, we want to create that junior section that will provide that flow of players for the club and provide opportunities and cricket for all, particularly in the juniors, for years to come. So fingers crossed. It's a successful first season for the under-11s. Just going to touch on now new rules. Not a great deal, but a couple of important ones that have ended up coming to fruition this season off the back of the pandemic season. And the main ones being earlier start time and fielding circles now going down to Division 4, whereas I think it was down to Division 2 previously. So there are two of the major ones, and tees being able to opt out of. So who wants to take what? Elliot, go on, you take one of them. I reckon you're going to go for tees.
Well, yeah, you're probably right there. Actually, I love cricket tees, despite the fact that organising cricket tees is it's harder than picking your damn side. To be quite honest, I quite enjoyed cricket tees, and I do wonder. And I meant to speak to you about this previously, Neil. I wonder whether the third team might have missed a trick here with playing the games at white copies, and whether or not we might want to have a rethink before the start of the season whether or not we can do something up with white copies, simply because I think it's an opportunity to make a bit of cash. Yeah. Not from the cricket, but you're on that walk up Rivington Pike, and you do get a lot of passing traffic, and it's worthwhile, offering up tees. Mind you, the problem is getting someone to do it. I accept that. Look, I can see the advantages of not having to do cricket tees. I'm old-fashioned. I just think it's quintessentially English, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, and I know Dave in the past has felt very similarly. But I think, Dave, you were one that, bring your own tee. You didn't really see anything wrong with that, really, did you?
Absolutely. I'm totally for getting rid of the tees because, yes, you got some good tees, some good spreads put on, but at the other end of the scale, you got some pretty shocking tees, to be quite honest, and begrudged pain at times. So it was a real lottery wherever you went. And I can, if I choose to take anything to a game, it'll be what I want to eat. It'll be the amount that I want to eat. I know it'll be there, sat in my cricket bag when I've inevitably come back after a first ball duck, and it'll be still nice and cool. So it's, for me, it's just moving with the times, and things have changed in other respects of life, and cricket tees can just be archived away with other things.
Absolutely, and it's something we discussed before, and I've been actually quite surprised at the amount of clubs who have put down that they are going to opt out. I thought it would have been more of an even split, but there are a significant number who are opting out of tees, so it's interesting.
I have to say, the ones who do the tees the best, and we all know who they are.
Yeah,
I will miss having tees at those grounds. There are some real standout tee spreads around the Palace Shield. It's the other ones. Unfortunately, they're as rare as rocking horse droppings on the whole. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I think we can all concur with that. Earlier start time. I think again I think everybody was. You shake your head, Elliot. I think everybody was pretty much universally in agreement that an earlier start time was beneficial. I think from the COVID season, finishing at 6:30 rather than 7:45, 8 was better for everybody. Yes, there are going to be sometimes setting up and people getting to the ground on time is going to be an issue. I fully appreciate that.
I mean, I remember 2 o'clock starts, and you still have people turning up late for 2 o'clock starts. The only concern I have is that you do get some working on a Saturday morning and may find it difficult to get there for the new start times. On
the other side, though, you've got lads who potentially work on a Saturday evening or want to go out on a Saturday evening, and
I get that. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that, Dave. Get that. I understand that. I'm a boring old fight who doesn't go out on the Saturday night, so I like to earn a bit of money on Saturday morning where I can.
If I had my way, I'd be starting at 11 o'clock, and so I can get home for my tea at 6 o'clock.
Mate, David, if you had your way, you started at 11 o'clock, you'd probably be away for 12 o'clock.
Half 11, probably.
Yeah.
Have me back, go home.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, hopefully that'll allow us to have a little bit of a life on a Saturday evening anyway. The other one being fielding circles, which is something we actually proposed as a club after in the second team last year being done on 2 occasions with club teams putting fielders out on the boundary for the last 7 to 10 overs.
You're blaming that rather than me fingering your up. Sorry, I'm firing you.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's fine.
And I'm not editing that out either. That one's there for the posterity.
You enjoyed it one way or the other. Yeah, right.
But yes, I that was on one occasion. In fact, that club, although they are a very good club, did it on both occasions to Yamin last year when he was batting. Listen, no rules were broken, but from my point of view, and the reason why we sought the support of some other clubs, it's just not cricket. It's just not the way of things. Is that everybody out on the boundary is just not. It's not an entertainment, and it's not a fair experience really.
And to be honest with you, having previously captained, I couldn't for the life of me have done that. In all consciousness, I couldn't have put fielders out on the boundary like that. Because you're right, it's just not cricket.
No,
maybe I'm just naive. I don't know.
No, listen. There would probably be occasions when I would do it, but I can hand on heart say I've never done it.
No.
But then I've probably never been in that situation where I felt the need to do it. So it is what it is. But I think the fielding circles, just having 4 in at any time, which I believe is going to be the rule, nice and simple, easily maintained, not an issue for me. And I think it'll make games a little bit more entertaining if it gets towards the back end of the game. So not many new rules, but some important ones we feel. So hopefully they make things generally more beneficial throughout the league. We're just going to finish up with some usual stuff and some new stuff. Fantasy League we're running again this year. We've had a good take up so far. We're hopeful that more teams come in. I think we've got 22 teams so far. We've been very kindly sponsored by Black Rat Cricket for this, who are going to give a bat at the end of the season for the winner. So thanks to them for that. And hopefully it adds a bit of fun and enjoyment. And Elliot's team is already named Fully Intend to Lose or something like that, isn't it?
I'm really hoping to win that bat because I'm going to make full use of it.
Yeah. Anyway, so awful comment. So hopefully the fantasy is its usual fun and entertainment and keeps everybody entertained and looking at their own performances anyway. We were also getting back to performance of the month, talking about performances this year, where every month we will look at both batting and bowling performances and nominate some players at the end of the month, and they will be voted on for performance of the month. We are still looking for a sponsor and a prize for this. So if anybody knows anybody that can provide a monthly prize, please get back to us and we will give them as much social media coverage as they want. And also on the website as sponsoring performance of the month. And lastly, as you can see behind us, that side, we have new kit. We have signed with Serious Cricket for this season. We are very happy with what we've got. Kindly sponsored by Stonehouse Homes again for the match kit. Stonehouse have been massive supporters of us over the years, and very kindly Mark and the guys there supported us again. And the match shirt's looking resplendent with navy and yellow trim, and that's the training shirt there. And the T20 shirts we were talking about are the reverse of that, so there will be yellow as a main part and blue as that part there. So it's a really good kit. We're enjoying it so far. The service has been superb, so thanks to Sirius for that. And hopefully everybody looks resplendent at the start of the season. So that's about it, gents. Anything you want to finish off on other than wishing everybody good luck for the season?
I was just going to say I've got my kit, but it's still in the plastic wrappers. I've not unwrapped it yet, but I do like the yellow, or should we say, Aussie gold epaulets on the shoulders. Quite like that. Look good. Yeah.
It is. It is. So, anything else to add from a pre-season review?
No, I think looking at it, it's every season starts with great hopes and expectations, but I genuinely think that with every chance and opportunity to achieve whatever we set out to do this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Would go on and just wish everybody, all players at the club and all the other players and clubs in the Pally Shield, all the best of luck for the season. Hope everyone enjoys it. It's great to be sort of back to pretty much a normal season now, and I hope everyone remembers that when they go out on the field, that we do this at the end of the day for a bit of fun and to enjoy ourselves. Hope everybody takes that into the season.
Absolutely.
Just remember, no spitting on your balls this year.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes. Don't spit on your balls. Couldn't agree with that more. Yes. So there's a new obviously that rule from the ICC only comes in October, but the league have suggested that will come in for all of us for our league for this season. No saliva on the ball. So that's another one to the rules that Elliot's thrown in there. But no, I completely concur with both of you. As I said it earlier in terms of my stewardship of the first team this year. We will be getting back to very much a commitment to the club, but doing it in a very enjoyable manner. I think if we can do that throughout the whole of the club this year, it will only be to the benefit of the club. So again, I will echo what Dave said. Good luck to everybody, either in the Pally Shield, the Northern League, locally, or further afield. Enjoy your cricket, and we shall be back soon.
Can I just
the best Harvey at
the mask for this year?
Another Harvey.
And perhaps this is Harvey. God knows why he's named Harvey. I mean, talking about I'll not go there.
He makes the most sense for Harvey.
He does. He speaks a lot more sense than any other Harvey we have at the club.
I want that Harvey as captain.
Probably win a toss better than I will.
Well, I was going to say that. Funny you should say that. Dave, should we have a sweepstake on how many tosses Neil wins?
Out of 22, I'll say 7.
I think that's pushing the envelope slightly there, Dave.
I'll go for 4.
Yeah, I would have been under 5. Absolutely, I'd have pinned it under 5.
Let's come back to that at the end of the season.
Yeah, we'll revisit that. Right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. We will be back probably sooner rather than later, and hopefully we've got some pre-season friendlies coming up. Not this weekend, next weekend. First at home to New Longton seconds, and the second and third team away to Longridge third fourths. So hopefully a good warm up for the season, and then we'll be straight into it on the 23rd. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks Dave, thanks Elliot for your presence on this comeback episode, and we shall see you all soon. That's all for now. See you later.